What's going on, everybody? It's Robinson. A little bit behind on the newest vlog, but if you've been following my Instagram, you're kind of keeping up with what's going on with me. Excuse me while I adjust my temperatures, because we went from 2 degrees to like 40 degrees, but it feels like 60 degrees in Jersey. But anyway, I digress. As you know, I had a bicep tear, and it's been repaired since. We're about 2 months into all this. I started physical therapy last week, just to kind of go over some things, and I'm going to be all over the place during this vlog, so just bear with me. I'm not somebody who wraps up my whole personality and my self-confidence in my physique. Bodybuilding is a part of my life. It does not define me and who I am. However, you know, after now of not really being able to use my left arm now for about 2 months, the atrophy is way more severe than I thought in my left arm. I've been still training legs twice a week and my upper body on the right-hand side, you know, just to maintain my right side to a point. Obviously, I can't lift the same amount of weight or progressively necessary overload as I would normally do, just because of the physical compensations of only having one arm. A little bit more difficult. And I've had other things to focus on, so I'm not driving myself crazy to, you know, try to build the right side. I'm just trying to maintain what I have. Anyway, so I've been working on that, but there was a picture I put up on my Instagram, and probably is going to be the thumbnail to this video. It's like, frustrated. You know, I knew the arm was atrophying. I just never really physically took a progress shot to see how bad. And to be quite honest, it's depressing. And let me just get something straight. There are worse things in life besides an atrophied muscle, which I know as soon as I start to lift again, get in the green light and go through the rehab, it's going to start to bounce back. But when I'm used to training how I want, when I'm used to having a certain look, you know, I've been lifting for 20 years. I've been in the natural bodybuilding scene now for probably about 8 years. The amount of time and effort that I've put into building the muscle, it's really sad to just see it basically look like a deflated balloon after 8 weeks, and almost like I've never lifted, to be honest. So last week, or maybe a little over a week ago, it just put me in a real bad spot mentally for a minute, where I was kind of just down on myself and feeling a little depressed. I'm not gonna lie. It was just, it looked bad. I wasn't in a good spot. I was having a little bit of a woe is me moment, because here was my thought process of, you know, I just finished a great competition season, finishing both first in my as a pro, and then winning my OCB Pro card. And then I got into my off season. I was finally getting some energy back. As you know, if you're following my Instagram, I hooked up with one of my own training partners, Jesse. We were working out together. We were having some really good workouts. My strength was really starting to come up. I could already start noticing changes in my physique. It just, to have this injury was just like, damn. Like the minute it happened, it was like, damn. And then my brain started to run of, well, you know, you're 37 years old. Not that I'm old. Actually, some of the best natural pro bodybuilders are in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s. But you now have this injury that's going to take 5 or 6 months to really get back up and running. And then, in all reality, it's almost like you're not back to normal for a full year. So it started to play mind games on me that I've basically lost a year of training, in a sense. Not completely, but in a sense I did. Like, I'm still training legs and really working on progressive overload to build those. But in terms of my upper body, it's just like, you know, my left arm is deflated, my left shoulder's deflated. You know, it's not just the bicep, it's the bicep, the tricep, the shoulder. My left pec is feeling like not as full as it used to. It's flattening out because I can't do anything with that side. So I was just in a really bad spot, and a lot of people took that as, don't quit. And I was like, well, I wasn't saying I was going to quit. I wasn't saying I was going to give up. I was just giving you my honest standpoint of where I was mentally at that moment. Because a lot of times I come across as this indestructible, ironclad, iron-willed, I'll take on the world, it doesn't matter type mentality. And I do have that. But that doesn't mean I don't have moments where I have a weak, I get mentally weak, or I doubt myself. I lose a little bit of self-confidence. It doesn't mean I never suffer from any sort of feeling of being depressed or low. That happens. And I wanted to be honest within that post. Literally the next day, I trained legs with my buddy Jesse again, and I got amped up. I put up some good weight. I was doing, it was a phenomenal workout. So it mentally helped me bounce back. The hard part for me with all of this is I am going to listen to what the doctors and physical therapists tell me to do. I do not want to rush back and get myself re-injured, delay the healing process, or having to put myself through further surgeries in which I may never fully recover from. With this surgery, the good thing was the tendon did come off the bone, so they were able to use my own tendon instead of having to use a donor tendon, which would have doubled this rehab time. So while all this is going on, while I started the physical therapy, and to be honest, it's boring, it's monotonous, it's child's play. They're basically having me do exercises with no resistance really whatsoever, except for testing out my grip a little bit, and or just rotating my hand to get the range of motion back in it and working to getting it to full extension. I haven't done anything that's even remotely challenging, and for me that's like even worse, because I'm ready to go, I'm amped, I'm ready to move, and I'm not allowed to. It's like, all right. And I already had a discussion with my physical therapist of listen, I understand there's a protocol here, but can we am I allowed to are we allowed to be a little bit more aggressive? Can we move to the next phase a little early? So I think in the next couple days here, they're going to allow me to start the next, phase of my rehab. I have no idea what that's going to entail. But there's some things that I did want to talk about in this video, and I may make an Instagram post about it later. This injury, I think, was a result of a combination of factors. And nobody else to blame but me. And part of it is because I am so just driven, and I have the ability to push through things when maybe I shouldn't. I didn't have any pain in that arm. I didn't have any tendonitis in that arm. I had nothing going on with that arm. However, as you know, I started my prep right after Christmas. I competed at a show in May. So you're already looking at, probably about 16 to 18 week prep that I did there, which I did drop 30 pounds relatively quickly. Though it wasn't hard, though I didn't really have to struggle, my body responded very well in terms of getting leaned out. As you know, I ended up winning my show as a pro. I just dropped a lot of weight very quickly, which stemmed into blood work being done and other issues that I had, which I revealed in what happened with my health. That issue has since corrected itself. After that show, I really should have hung it up. It's not my coach's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just mine. My wife wanted me to reverse out. I started to do a mini reverse. However, I had some competitors that were doing the OCB show in August, and I really wanted to try to win my OCB Pro card. But there was quite a gap between May and August, so I kind of did a mini reverse and then dieted back down for August. I ended up winning my OCB Pro card, so that was another bucket list item of mine that I wanted to achieve. So if you really think about it, that's now 8 months, over 30 weeks of being in some sort of dieted stage. During that time, I never really took any taper, I never really took any breaks, I never deloaded, I just trained throughout the entire thing. The first real break I took after 8 months of dieting and training programs and whatever else, because I usually used to do a 4-week training cycle with a 5th week deload. I never did any of that. I took a complete week off post-show after my August show, where I just did some basic body weight stuff, some cardio, and I brought food up a little bit just to help my body with the healing process. Okay, so right after that 1 week off, I resumed training and did not stop again at all. No deload, no taper, no nothing, no real days, just my usual 5-day-a-week training program. during all of this, I was extremely tired. My sleep wasn't exactly the best. You know, maybe I should have brought my calories up a little bit faster than I did. You know, I had a lot of stress going on at the time, and instead of taking my foot off the accelerator, I decided to keep my foot down. Now, I wasn't starving myself, I wasn't doing extra cardio, I was bringing my food up, I was following my reverse to a T. However, being in that dieted state for over 8 months, really giving myself no break, keeping my foot on the gas, not backing off, not really giving my body any time to probably recover or recover the way it needed to, even though I didn't necessarily feel beat up. I think all contributed to the bicep just having enough and giving out, and that I think is exactly what happened. So going forward, once I get through this physical therapy and I can resume training, I am going to bring my food back up a little bit more quickly. I've been kind of flatlining my macros where I left off, just to hold my body weight at this point, because obviously my training capacity is way down. I don't want to just sock on a bunch of body fat for no apparent reason. But once I get the okay to start going full throttle again, I'm going to start, you know, figuring out where my macros need to be, which they need to come up, and then having my training programs written out so that I have a scheduled time where I know I'm going to deload or taper or take a break to let my body heal a little bit more, in hopes that I don't have any other further injuries. With all that kind of wrapped up, in terms of my future for bodybuilding, I have to see how my arm bounces back. There's no reason why I don't think it should. I didn't tear the muscle, I tore the tendon. They didn't have to use a donor tendon. So the shape and everything should kind of come back to where it was. From my understanding, the strength will be exactly the same, if not better. And this should never happen again on my left arm. So we're just gonna take it easy over the next 4 months or so until I get the green light and I can start using the arm again, and then kind of progress from there. So that's a lot of the update that I wanted to give you guys. For everyone who has reached out, I greatly appreciate the support, especially when I made that post where I was a little bit down. Not that I was looking for pity, because I really wasn't. It helped to show that people actually cared, because I know there's some people out there who are very happy that I got hurt because they're assholes. And of course, because I got injured, they want to make certain accusations that aren't true. It was a freak thing. I went over everything with the orthopedist. I went over everything with my surgeon. They even found it very strange that I had no symptom or sign that this was kind of coming. You know, listen, people get hurt. I was injured in basketball more times than I care to remember. You know, I had 10 kneecap dislocations. I had broken fingers, jammed fingers, sprained wrists, sprained ankles, broken toes. You know, I've been through some things. I thought I tore my ACL many years ago, but thankfully I didn't. So as far as I'm viewing it, it's just another setback. Unfortunately for me, this is the longest setback I've ever had. You know, usually it's been maybe 4 to 6 weeks type layup times. This is now several months. So I'm just trying to still stay physically active. I can't sit on my ass, but I've been trying to focus my energy somewhere else, via work, recruiting more clients for my training business, doing more reading for leisure or just education that I want to do on my own. I took a class on something just to learn something new. Just trying to keep my brain occupied in other ways. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'm just going to try to keep doing updates with every week as to how this whole healing process and where my mind is. All right, guys, talk to you soon.